Welcome back. Um, so I was really trying to figure out what to do about this hip pain. Holy shit. Just came on out of nowhere. I think when I crossed my legs too long, I was thinking about this. Maybe I should just talk about it because it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this. When I cross sometimes I'll sit here in this chair, just legs crossed, and out sitting in a chair, legs crossed a lot. And I'm like, maybe that's a thoughtful thing. And it just makes me think the life of that kind of lifestyle. Maybe one of the aspects of it is actually that it fucking hurts over time. It's like, stop doing this kind of. Oh, it's kind of like what I'm doing. I was just thinking, is this because I just made that ridiculously illuminating realization and video about it, and here I am, a little concerned. I was thinking about how Joe Rogan and Neil deGrasse Tyson, who was recently on his podcast, were talking about how someone within a with a on the autistic spectrum will do anything from do what I'm doing pretty much. I'm just like health doesn't even to the point of could die because of their decisions to pursue something that they're doing but they're socially, and I'm just maybe there's a lot of people out there with a lot of things to say that just can't say it because people won't let them, and then it makes them really in their own little corner, and then they're trying to share something the way we're doing things isn't thought through, the health system. For instance, before I get too distracted on complaining or something, I was watching it, this here, and I was kind of looking over in this region, and I mentioned I was a chakra that had a particle on it here, kind of thing. And I couldn't help but at some point I noticed not only I had this thought, it's a bunch of circles, right? More circular structures that collectively combine to more here there's an eyeball, another it's more of an eyeball shape at different ways of mousing over it because the current is taking several things going on and creating a continuation, maybe. So I was thinking, what if the seamount, the Hawaiian seamount here, is forming basically starting, I guess, starting somewhere over here, maybe here. Let me see if I can find that video. It's that, but not that. I guess I can just go to that channel. Videos. Gina, what's up? No, There it is. Here we go. Somewhere in here he puts it under the whole Hawaiian island chain under North America. Here it is. Or no, that's not it. Did I skip over it? Pardon me. If you want to find this, here it is. Pardon me if I don't put links in. I think that's how I put links in. Here's the information to search for. There's North America, so that's got to be it. And this is only here. I think I saw it though from here to like into Alaska. It must have been his video. Let's see. Hawaiian Islands overlay North America. Oh man, which video was that then? Maybe it was actually. That's just. I don't want to get caught up on this, but I know it's not that exact image. Like it went down here and into Alaska. Through Canada, like to Alaska. Into Alaska. And I meant into Canada, but I like played it off like I didn't say it like that. It just looks like that's it there. There it is. There it is. Here we go. Here we go. So my thought is, what if it really did form much like this, where like maybe the bend is actually instead like down here somewhere? Like it was basically forming along here, and so as I mentioned, like it was the theory is it's a particle rolling along here, pretty much. And that's like losing material as it moves. Kind of like how I'm probably losing anyone who's listening to me as I keep talking about this Hawaii thing. Pardon me, guys, who are a little less on this train that maybe are seeing other things along the way enough to be like, I'll listen, even though he's an asshole, and I see why all these other people are like, fuck that dude. But essentially, it's like it potentially maybe around here is like, so this is, I believe, 47 million years where the bend is dated to have occurred. Let's see where like Yellowstone eruptions or something. Much more recent. There must be like a first eruption. Oh, so they're only 2 million. Okay. 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 So let's go through this. The ammonite structure, Australia, everything going on in Australia had a tendency to be more in the 300 million radiometric dating time frame. So like this is probably where the currents initially collided. And then as they separated the bodies of Australia and North America, they allowed a current to flow. The earliest one is 80 million. I really like because of the way that Hawaii. It's not like they didn't just like form like here and there. Like they literally formed as a single particle. Unless like that's just how it happens, where like even though they form like across a span, they actually like when put back together are like this somehow. I don't think so. I think it physically formed as a single unit and currents flowed within it to shape it because it was a single unit in a way where it was shaped into having like all the nuance of Hawaii's islands and volcanoes. And so I believe it was physically shaped like a sphere that maybe like when the currents collided underneath and began to like produce this situation of this ammonite, it really did emit the particle, which then got caught in the current. Maybe like caught because there's essentially a current coming out this way and up this way. Let's see. Like here, coming out underneath, specifically underneath Central America, especially, and bending this way, I believe, or actually probably this whole length. No. This portion's going this way. This portion's going this way, but there's a current that goes past it that then bends out here and fills this region, but it meets resistance from a current going this way, basically, that limits it here, but then there's another undercurrent going across here. But then on the northern side, it balloons around this way, so it maybe it physically brings the particle like up into like the armpit because it was much more closed at the time of this region, so it just like got lodged here and shaped and like more explosively like influencing the lavas around it, making them more eruptive to really like push outwardly. I'm thinking of Hawaii or Mauna Loa eruption. Here, but on a much grander scale where like around it there's lava flowing, but like near it it's because it's like lodged in a position, like the current just like carried it to a position and then it just got lodged. Physically like coming out of here, essentially out of underneath here this way, flowing out that way by the decay process of the nucleus of Australia, Papua New Guinea, and whatever exactly was like energetically bonded to it, generally speaking, to a point somewhere. Maybe probably not like the Southeast Asia that much, just mostly like maybe to here specifically. I don't know. I don't even know about that, but it seems more plausible than like past it, where it was kind of like where a current flowed in, maybe in this way, mainly across this way, because there's a current coming from over here that generally goes like down between here, but also goes over here. Not here because that's like not formed, maybe. Or actually, yeah. This is like South America. Ew. Maybe this portion of the islands were shaped by that. I don't know what to, like, from here though, like this way, and then it's essentially it went across here, like a current this way. That just was a more narrow current that then crossed with this other wider current that was like this wide. Like a real wide current coming across in through here, and then another narrow current coming up. So there's three currents, two of them kind of wrapping around, this one wrapping around, this one going atop, and this one going through. And it's just basically compressing this region into like a some sort of nucleus type thing that then got too compressed to a point where like channels that started to flow into it started to create eddies that like blew out regions of it to create just this like nova sequence where we can see just these novas around it, just many novas around it. But maybe in the process, it's physically a single particle flowing through that's creating these like novas and maybe decaying as it goes through this and spirals out this way and then physically flows out here, out through this channel. I don't know. But then at that point, it like is building mass. It's like accumulating the mass with it, bringing the material out of this section to make it ammonite-like, like hollow-ish relatively, with like dense regions that are ammonite shapes because that's how they form, and not actually being fossils. And then the particle physically flows out. Like it's probably more like a galaxy, like a bunch of material flowing out, but also like the main particle. And maybe my thoughts are then it like generally gets caught in the currents up this way, which are really up this way at that point. And maybe just deposited at the boundary up here along like the first segments out. They're kind of just pulses maybe that are form seamount type things. That doesn't make sense though. Unless the particle inside, and maybe the particle within like is emitting like a chunk at a time. Like each one of the novas actually it accumulates to a degree as it as the pressure grows and it becomes like a neutron kind of thing. But then the eddies start to enter, and I mean, it must grow to a certain size and then begin to decay. So maybe as it decays, it like it's like stuck in here, and then it decays, releasing like bits of it. Kind of like once it passes the iron portion and starts to get like too massive, too dense. See, I was about to cross my legs. Sit here like legs crossed. That's exactly why my hip was just like okay. So the reason I'm talking about this kind of thing is because I want to talk about something that I noticed that really like even made me sit up, and the pain is totally gone pretty much. It made me sit up. Also, there's super volcanoes here that I was just thinking maybe they're related, but let's not get distracted by that. The particle comes out though, let's say, if this is what happened. If they're like, if the particle was generally in there, then also like as it's novaing, producing like maybe it's sitting here while Australia is moving on top of it. around, like Australia's tilting around, moving around, creating like a this structure like a top of on like underneath Australia pretty much, creating like depressions underneath it so that like these regions are really like undercurrents in a way. And maybe the mantle itself was here though, so like the mantle was had this particle sitting on it that had this field flowing around it that was producing this effect, while Australia with the particle on it was just wobbling so that the like chunks were being like decayed. Maybe chunks of of this were being like accreted actually onto Hawaiian particle in the process, which just like sat in a position, and then Hawaii was Hawaii, the nucleus of Hawaii, but Australia like moved away from it as the Earth expanded, and then it got caught in the bulk currents maybe that caused it to physically flow like it's something, huh? It's hard to like make it make sense because I think like something of this nature's going on. It's just what exactly it is like going through some you know some misses, some strikeouts. You know, it's some less than 1.000 batting average. You know, even the best hitter of all time in baseball is not even a 400 hitter, really. I don't think so. Highest batting average career. We might have some 400 batting at 366. Yeah. 366. That's almost 1/3, and real quick, we do get down to 1/3 by number 22. We only got 20 in all baseball history batting more than 1/3 of their at bats to get a hit. Oh, you know, since I'm swinging a lot, that I'm getting a lot of at bats, you know, and some of them are gonna be misses. That's all I'm saying. So as we go through this process, anyone who's listening, I appreciate you, you know, going through the cringes while seeking and maybe observing the extent of the less so cringes. Maybe the particle like came up all the way even to the like up here as far as it could go, like because essentially there's a current coming this way across, but it's running into this current that's kind of like causing it to deflect up this way, basically. And it wraps around the pole and creates the pole, but then it, like, basically it gets a new path through which to approach the initial current, so then it comes in at a different angle off of this angle rather than like across this way. So by taking this like loop here, it gets to like slingshot through this way, so then it's able to, but when it's going this way, like it's really significantly more here, so it's almost like, or even closed up to the point where like they're practically adjacent. Let's go back to here. Australia is said to be in there, as well as Papua New Guinea down. That's pretty good. Although I think this is this a correct angle? I think actually they have it totally backwards. If I remember right. I was like, wait a minute. Which is reasonable. Oh, no, we're good, we're good. Okay, pardon me, pardon me. Yeah, we're good, we're good. It just doesn't show Papua New Guinea, like, directly at that point. So I was a little confused. It seems to have it like it was over here. I don't know if there's like actual like knowledge that it was over here and it like moved over here. I don't know. Maybe. That would be interesting. And it's possible. I don't know. That doesn't quite make complete sense to me, but maybe it's like slid and is still connected from just the sheer quantity of currents that were flowing around to like hold it there. Okay, so generally speaking though, like if this ball gets caught in the current, then it kind of gets moved like up here by this current. It's just like riding this current away from Australia until it basically meets resistance of the other current, which then just continues to like lift it up to like a peak point, maybe up to like here. Although there's another feature like that there. I was thinking it was like really anomalously peaked there, which it is, but not like that although maybe like that was there like pretty much, and it opened this space. So maybe the current like lifted it up here, which actually went to here, which then was actually here. I'm not sure if that makes complete sense. There is a path like from here, a pretty thick one there that just like goes right through and kind of goes through here to here. And it really does, it's at the bend. Ooh, it's at the bend. Here's the Hawaiian Island bend right here. Really, we don't see those currents at all in the map like this, but we see them clear as day here. Current coming up here from this like dragon feature. Here. From like its hip. It's a little hard, pardon me. But it's essentially going up there. Up to where it then physically splits to here and here, it looks like. Maybe even continues. I don't really see anything further that's like unequivocally that. Like maybe that one, but that looks like it could just be other things involved. Because it doesn't really, this current here, I just don't see it after there. Maybe here actually. I guess it is there. That doesn't make sense otherwise, really. So it does continue there, whatever's going on here. This like opening that includes the Hawaiian Island the Emperor Seamount portion of the Hawaiian Emperor Seamount chain has this other segment that branches off. It crosses where those novas are. I think that's where this is. It crosses this way and then through here. There's also another wave here. I didn't notice that. I saw this portion, but this has a wave type structure going to it too, and then like a larger wavelength. I still haven't even gotten to what I wanted to talk about. What made me like looking. I wonder if it's possible if like there's a particle that was forming that like maybe reached like physically even to the Siberian traps. At this point, like around 300, let's say like, I don't know, 300 million radiometric dating kind of time frame. This kind of thing going on with it, the particle then leaving and going down that river type thing up to there. Something earlier than the Siberian traps, and maybe the particle physically moving upward to it until it like participated in the nova. I don't know why that would be like necessary or part of the process, but some like basically some sort of like anti-earth particle, pretty much, because it's like the mirror of Earth that has like similar features but mirrored in ways, I think. Although I'm not so sure anymore since I changed the map up. But it's also like the reality of it is, if it is the case, if it was a particle, it's not even the outside of the particle, it's the inside, the internal crust of the particle layer, like that opened up as the particle rolled. So maybe it was sort of like the ether storm flowing through the Earth particle was creating a particle that then was like moving around, gathering like the energy to grow. Like it has some aspect of that going on. Where it like started from the ether storm, so maybe it was like an anti-particle type of particle initially, and then it began to like gather material until it like antimatter nova kind of thing, which then caused it to like maybe decompose some major elements of it in the Siberian traps, but then start to like roll back as it lost its energy. Maybe like over like the current that was generally holding it up to there, and like once it nova'd, like then it couldn't anymore, so it started rolling back, and Siberian traps happened, and then it rolled here where it like was like around the Cretaceous time, or it started to like open. I'm just trying to like piece out why this would be happening, but like this is also here, like they're literally the same position pretty much. So it really, as it rolled from here to here, it actually rolled to ultimately take more so here, because it's like physically here. This is where the material physically was. Or maybe it was like a separation of like certain materials. Like the more dense one got lifted up this way, and then the more subtle one went this way. Like more subtle energy went this way. That to me maybe makes more sense than all the things I was just saying. of like maybe it's more subtle energy got separated, which we've ran into in instances like over here where there's like a bend. This current crosses this current, and the boundary of this current is here, coming this way, and then this current bends around it and goes up this way. But it also bends into it and causes this like this segment, and but it bends at different amounts to create like several different bend paths back, which I think are dependent on the material, which is like the more subtle sand, like the Bahamas is over here, and then still subtle but probably less fine grained. I'm not sure. I haven't like looked into it. I know like it's still pretty fine grained, but it's probably like getting more like coarse over here as, and then more like dense particles over here, because the more dense things, like when they get deflected a lot, it seems. So like this thing, this current that was pushing on it, but then it met this other current, and then the particle was just getting lifted in the current against the other current that's like bringing it to a stability point where then it just like goes up here. I don't know why it would even have to go up there. Maybe it initially just went up this way. Maybe that's actually what happened, is it initially went up this way. That makes more sense. Initially this way, nova to all the way over here, and then in so doing went back this way, making like a indentation where like maybe it's physically bouncing, like boing boing kind of thing, like it's bobbing in the currents. That makes sense to me. It's bobbing in the currents. Bobbing in the currents. So it's flowing up this way, bobbing in the currents. Goes specifically this way. Really like hits here. And then bounces over here, hits again. And maybe at that point sparks the Siberian Traps nova. Like this region really got like forced into novaing this way because it was just like a physical mass causing a physical pressure against this current that then just like caused eddies to form, and then just they got forced this way to really make the Siberian Traps like boom kind of thing, maybe. Or maybe it didn't even it wasn't this at all, and it was just physically Hawaii hitting, like the particle of Hawaii bouncing there. I don't know why that, like this one didn't have an equivalent, and maybe that is what happened. Like each one of these bounces were related to the particle coming on land, involved in some like extinction event. I don't know. Just vibrating the plate of the earth, like with a physical like mini planet bouncing on its inner surface. And then it bounces here, and I guess like just physically bends back. Like the currents are just overwhelming at that point, and it bends back. Bounce, bounce. Maybe. At that point, maybe it's influencing the way these currents are shaped. Like these ones tend to go more upward. These ones are like pushed aside. Like it's physically pressuring into the currents to bend them so they're not like more this way, maybe. That would be crazy. Like this particle moving up this way and coming back this way, maybe. I feel like it maybe here. I don't know how the angle would make sense, like it's opening, so maybe it's really, even though it looks like it's like far apart, it really like is straight and straight still. Like this was straight at that time, but then this actually widened over here and pushed this region to bend. So it was actually going this way, maybe. Was like where the Hawaiian, this region was like here. Until it, but like this region, like the current it was running into was actually here. But the physical position it was happening was essentially in this line here. And then like subsequent currents came in and filled behind it. This is older, like in this region. Which is interesting. The oceanic crust is significantly I'm trying to get a good image. Here we go. Significantly older than Hawaii itself in the region of Hawaii, which some like region that like a boulder rolls across like is probably older than the boulder if that boulder was a boulder of molten lava that then like formed at the date that it formed, like cool that it cooled. But then like this region filled in and pushed it over, so it probably formed more like this. And then let's see. It hit the resistance of that current more head on. That pushed it upward. This current coming up this way that sent it upward. It sent it up this way right here. And then it came back the same path, but like widening, like along the opposite side that then was filled in. Or no. That's right, this way. That's right, it just went this way. And then this region was this way. It's kind of what I'm thinking. And then essentially though, it was here though. I can't really look at this region as a basis. This is the currents it was flowing into. It's flowing here. And as it flows, let's look at this again. This other current coming across maybe especially like pulls some of the material with it off of the passing particle. In this region, like because there's a current here, it really participates in making the seamount more pronounced here. This crossing current that's like coming from over here, that's bouncing off of the current coming up this way. So it's bouncing off of it in multiple shapes. And as it goes like that, it crosses this passing particle and just basically adds to the capacity for portions of that particle to be stripped away by the currents. So then they are just placed as the particle comes back over top the pre-existing but still newly formed oceanic crust, because it's all still, this is all happening rapidly, and because the Earth was undergoing basically a supernova on an Earth scale equivalent, where rapid radioactive decay was occurring. So it painted the picture that it was rapid, but it was, or that it was slow, but it was really actually rapid. And so the current flows through here, or the particle flows through here, and starts to get stripped away. I guess this whole like mass here is that, as well as when it first passed, it was stripped away. So it occurred twice. It passed this way and had like almost like an outer ring of electrons that are way more subtle before like the more like the a more dendritic region of the particle before like a more solid mass of the particle was removed. Like initially it passes by in like little points, very subtle, contribute to this, although I'm not completely sure that what I'm saying is actually how any of this happened. Like what I would zero in on as an end result, or anyone like taking this line of like reasoning further to a point where we do as like find like something that's like we can be moved on from like reliably, like okay, that's it. But so I'm thinking the particle itself is physically rolling back this way and losing material as it goes on the seamount, creating the seamount on the oceanic crust, which is sticky enough, but from it still being hot enough and molten enough to like capture some material as the particle rolls, and then the crossing current takes some of it, and then it continues this way. But mind you, like this current is, all of this doesn't exist, so this is actually happening up this way, maybe even here, like somewhere specifically there. Like this dragon thing is probably somewhere over here. Also, like maybe here. Because like it would have to be over here. Maybe here. Like this. This region maybe is involved. Okay, from there. Then like this current is over here. So like this really is actually, maybe when this current is here, maybe this particle is actually rolling into the current from over all the way even over here. Like before any of this is filled in, it really, like this is over here somewhere, so that it's pretty much where this is, like over here, where the bend is over here. So like maybe right down here, like it came down through here. And then hit the current coming this way. This way. Am I wrong about this current then? I've been saying it's been going this way all along. Oh my god, there's so many freaking possibilities. It's totally like arranging the puzzle pieces different ways. Like, okay, maybe it was initially going this way, but then it like widened out. But then if it was going this way, then this current went this way. Like, it really is possible that like everything's backwards kind of thing in some places that I've been just like mistaken because it's difficult to reason through this much stuff like in a legitimate way where it's like, okay, that's what happened, or I'm just making it all up and that's what's going on and that's what this is for and you're welcome. Like maybe it looks like it kind of could have gone here and wrapped like through here maybe and like even ramped like ramped over the pole physically and then came through this region. Where then it started to like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have an age up there. That one's got it kind of younger. Much older. Like it's rolling over oceanic crust. That. Okay. Okay. Whew, I'm tired. It's rolling over oceanic crust. That is out here. But maybe it's rolling over it while it's here, and then I'm just mistaken on how these currents are. Like the current's actually going this way, running into resistance, and just going like that. One into Australia, one up actually through here, which then like this is where this happens, and then it comes through a narrowing channel, generally over here, which got reshaped here maybe, but it's like up this way. And then like that was here at the time, but then the current just kept pushing the material out from that point, like from here. So when Hawaii itself moved, maybe it moved like along this boundary first. Went through the region down here, decaying like onto the crust, and then getting like pushed out, and then the currents just keep going and keep going and keep going until like new accretion happens. I don't know if that makes sense, because that's not the right sequence. Like this is recent. It's just too that this would be significantly younger than this. It doesn't make sense that way. It only really makes sense as a particle that just kind of rolled on top and stopped rolling, and pretty much maybe was out in the ocean already at that point. Like it wasn't rolling within North America. But the reason I started this video is because I thought maybe like there's more to this than just like novas and like a figure eight here, but also like these like flame structures. Essentially I had the thought, what if like the particle was going down here? It almost has like a double helix kind of thing going on here. But then like over here it starts to like have variation where it's almost like bending the direction by having these like propulsion flames, like a rocket engine, like forcing the current this way, and then generally causing it to flow that way. Like I really think the current's going this way. Although maybe it is going this way and runs into this current that's going this way. I think it's just going, at some point it passes a secondary current coming this way. It's the only way it makes sense, really. Only way. Okay, this is about an hour. I really was just kind of thinking about that, how it looks like there's a... So essentially I was thinking maybe a bunch of novas here are actually tied to the creation and depositing of these seamounts up to Hawaii, and then also somehow related to like each of the ammonite chambers along the way being like nova steps that were ultimately like the process there. Something. There's my present rough draft, and see y'all's later. Holy fuck! I just feel like my eyes like I can't live, just like in a blur. Like I just need to rest. I don't know how to stop until someone's like, "Hey, dude." We got you. We see you. I see you. I see what you've done. Thank you. Here, let me help. Till then, I'm just like, maybe me's the one who needs to do that the most. Be like, you know what? What am I doing? I'm just like, wasn't the first discovery really enough? Yeah, why did I need to go and hog a bunch of shit? Like I could stop here and be like, good enough. Be the one who's like says good enough, and like here's some things to help you. And not just this anymore. Like Whew. All right, peace.